with rifles, and one racks the slide on the rifle on the firearm. What happened next?
Actually, it was pistols. But
sorry.
Well, no worries.
No worries.
The guy on the back has a pistol, pulls it out from his waistband, racks the slide, and immediately starts to bring it up. So the moment that I see this, I'm actually looking around, checking the area, because you don't go into the black and just lull yourself into a false sense of security. You're always looking around. I was looking to my left, and then as I began to look back towards the front, I see this. I see exactly this. A gun come out, the slide's being racked, and it starts to come up. The moment that it goes from the slide being racked to moving towards me, I've already begun a draw stroke with my gun that's inside of my belt. Unbuckle the seatbelt, pull the gun out, start shooting before his rounds impact my car.
And people might wonder, well, why'd you shoot before he shot? As far as I'm concerned, if you're in that kind of situation and somebody's presenting a deadly threat to you, I'd rather have you react first rather than waiting for the guy to get a round or two off, because you may be dead at that point.
Understand the nature of the situation. There's a ground view of a situation, and then there's like a 30,000-foot view. If you were watching two cars from an airplane up above in the sky, and they were coming to a blind intersection, and both of them were speeding, neither one is going to stop at this intersection. You're looking at it and you're going, oh man, those cars are going to hit each other, right?
Yep.
You get to see everything unfold from a distance, which is kind of the aftermath. After it happens, people can look at that, and that's the situation basically. The person on the ground sees only the information that is given to them. They're driving down a road, there's no traffic, here comes an intersection, now they have a choice. Do I slow down at this intersection and check it, or do I blow through it? Now, if both cars blow through, they're obviously going to crash. If one slows down and takes a glance, the other one goes through, now everything's safe. The ground view is where you don't have time to hesitate. You see a gun come out, okay, that's a threat. Well, guess what? Everyone in the war zone has a gun. You can't just shoot everyone who pulls a gun out. But by the act of racking a slide, meaning charging the gun, showing that, hey, I have a gun, and B, I also know how to use this gun, I know how to operate it, that tells you another thing. So I began to start to go for my gun at this point, and then as the gun started to be aimed in on me, now I know there's intent. So the mind is made up, and all this happens in microseconds through your previous training.
So when you shot back, what happened?
I fired the amount of rounds that I needed to the situation. At the time, I had no idea how many rounds I fired. I just shot until the threat went away. Luckily, through training, I did not miss. People are like, oh, he's very casual about that. No, I'm not. You're responsible for every round that comes out of your gun, and you can't just shoot and miss the target that's trying to kill you and hit innocent people.
Nope.
There were a lot of innocent motorcycles sitting right next and around them. It was a very crowded street. Had I been off left or right, there would have been a lot more people dead that day. And thank God, I mean, a loss of life is tragic as it is, and it doesn't matter who it is. Loss of life is tragic, but to lose innocent life is even more so, and you don't want that weighing on you at the end of the day.
No, absolutely not. So did you shoot both the man with the gun and the other man on the motorcycle?
I shot both, just because of the way they were situated. As I drew, I had to shoot so quickly, I never got my sight all the way up to my eyes. So the gun came up, it was pointed at the target, and I started to fire the rounds off and driving the gun out to get the sights up to my eyes.
Yep.
People would say, oh, you never shoot a gun unless your eyes are on the sights. Well, we trained explicitly for this. For situations where the threat was so close that you had to start shooting, because I only had a fraction of a second longer, and he would have started shooting. He had a 7.62 by 25 round in his gun. He had a Tokarev pistol. All he had to do was just start shooting, the rounds are they shoot so hard that he would have penetrated through the dashboard, everything, if he had started shooting his rounds early. So, knowing that those big caliber rounds, which is basically the same size round that's in an AK-47, that's basically the size of round.
The 7.62 round, and that's a heavy piece of that's a heavy duty bullet. It's not like the little 223 rounds that people see in AR-15s.
Wow, you can see
Correct.
that traffic
and,
all the way.
You start shooting into a soft-skin car, meaning it's not armored, it's going to start penetrating and sometimes go all the way through the other side. So that danger that's presented has to be met very quickly. So I fired all of my rounds, fired all my rounds out, got them out. The threat went away, and that's basically when the situation was over. But nothing is ever really over. You don't know how many more people there are. So you start looking around, checking, making sure there's no follow-on attack.
I'm talking to Ray Davis, who is the author most recently of The Contractor, How I Landed in a Pakistani Prison and Ignited a Diplomatic Crisis. What'd you do next?
I got out of the car, looked around, made sure that there was no other threat, and there wasn't. The people there, they weren't mobbing at that exact moment. They weren't mobbing me, weren't running around trying to get me. So I put my gun away. There's no other threat. You have the rules of engagement.
Yeah, I thought about going to Hoyt too, but I don't think you're going to be able to do
deadly threat against you. You can meet that with deadly force.
Yep, even here in the United States, those rules apply.
Absolutely, and the moment that you meet that threshold and there's no other threat, you have to be able to immediately bring it back down to the normal level and say, okay, there's no other threat. I don't want to be standing out here with a pistol waving it around, so I put my gun away. All of my friends ask, Ray, why didn't you just run? Why didn't you just run away? Well, all I had was a pistol. It's 3 miles straight line distance to the embassy. You're not going to make that run by bolting without people, because people are going to try to stop you from getting to the embassy. They're going to stop. I've hit cars in Pakistan before, or been hit by a car, either way, but traffic accidents occur. If you try to drive away, the entire street mobs you and tries to stop you. But if you got hit by a car, like I hit a tuk-tuk one time, I backed into it, and I got out and looked at the guy, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
There's a green light without a doubt.
I'm sorry, how much? And
don't know why no one's moving up there, but that's a green light.
I got a bunch of money, I handed it to him, he seemed satisfied. Gave me a thumbs up, I gave him a thumbs up, got in the car, drove away, nothing happened. So had I left that scene immediately, just grabbed my bag.
That's funny, but it gets a stoplight here, it's hilarious.
Because you've committed some kind of infraction there, doesn't matter what it is.
And you sneak in there, you bastards.
Now, you have a choice to make. Are you going to
oh my goodness.
innocent people who just want to stop you from leaving the scene of a crime?
Oh my goodness, can you believe that?
So, I made the choice to not run because the crowd wasn't
chicken shit motherfuckers.
Raymond Davis is my guest. We'll continue in just a moment. You're listening to the Lars Larson Show, and his book is The Contractor, How I Landed in a Pakistani Prison and Ignited a Diplomatic Crisis. We'll talk more about this in just a moment. We'll get your phone calls and emails later, and you're listening to the Lars Larson Show. The Lars Larson Show.
Set course with Talk Radio 570 KVI for the
That's
Lucerne
chicken
Seafair
shit
Milk Carton Derby,
motherfucker right there.
presented by
No, you're not
Safeway
coming
in
in.
Albertsons. Saturday, July 15th at Greenway. It's a classic quirky celebration of summer and boatmanship. Register now at seafair.com to build your own boat and race it during the Derby. Attend this free event and enjoy food, exhibits, Seafair personalities, and cheer on your favorite team. Be a part of the Lucerne Seafair Milk Carton Derby. Learn more on the events page at kvi.com. KVI Seattle.
John Carlson here. Hi, everybody. Kirby here. Lars
I'm already getting fucked by these people up here. I'm not letting you motherfuckers
Talk
in.
station. Talk Radio 570 KVI.
Jobs in construction and retail, the latter sometimes not being the highest paying positions, are among the largest increases in the Labor Department jobs report for June.
What the fuck, really?
222,000
No.
jobs created. Crude oil prices tanked. Wall Street indexes surged. You know, some cars have black boxes now with data about how fast they travel and when, and braking and turning, etc.
Don't do it to us again. Come on, motherfucker.
The elderly man killed in their recent
Seriously, get across.
now agree on how they will examine both vehicles. Williams attorney Malcolm Cunningham.
The main issue was that
Here we go again.
The defense wants to exchange data from the black box immediately when we have the inspection next week.
The estate of the victim, 78-year-old Jerome Barsons, is suing Williams. Police say a new surveillance video shows Williams entering the intersection
Can
on a
you
green
believe
light,
this shit?
and a third car turning in front of her, forcing her to stop before proceeding. Chuck Sievertson, ABC News.
If your home has windows that stick, doors that jam, walls that crack, uneven floors, or leaning basement walls,
God
these
damn
could be
it.
warning signs of a foundation problem. Hi,
Pull on
Como
up there,
Program
motherfucker,
Director
so we
Rick
can get
Van
up
Dyson.
there.
Thankfully, the solution is often an easy fix. As a professional,
Go, man. What are you waiting for up there?
Foundation repair
I'm
can
getting a
fix
little
structural
intense
problems at your
here.
home that nobody else wants to tackle. The guys from Matt Bay Foundation Repair have been to my house, and I quickly learned how deep their knowledge is on foundation problems and the dangers caused by soil erosion. For your questions, get your free inspection. Call Matt Bay at 866-605-2522. They fix cracked foundations, sagging floors, leaning chimneys, and retaining walls, too. For your free evaluation, call Matt Bay Foundation Repair, 866-605-2522.
Okay, maybe two more lights.
605-2522.
Hey, maybe only one.
Or schedule at foundationfixnw.com. 866-605-2522.
No, 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 no. No, you're not.
To the Cascades, it's the sponsor spotlight, brought to you by Guardian Roofing. If you've put off having your roof repaired or replaced, Guardian Roofing can help. Locally owned Guardian Roofing is just as happy to replace a little hole in your roof as they are to replace your whole roof. Call Guardian Roofing for a free evaluation. 877-926-9966. Call 877-926-9966.
Best sale with Island Adventures. Get $30 off adult tickets and $20 off children. Island Adventures just launched the new state-of-the-art whale watching vessel. Celebrate 21 years of guaranteed whale watching tours with special tickets. Visit orcawhales.com.
Fuck me, are you kidding?
No high pressure or awkward negotiation.
Oh!
Education. All around.
Motherfucker!
Sponsor Spotlight, brought to you by Guardian Roofing.
Investing for retirement shouldn't involve gambling, yet most investors are gambling with their future. There's a better way to invest that, while based on decades of academic research, just makes sense. Join Tom from KBI's Talking Real Money for the Science of Retirement Investing on July 13th in Tacoma. Learn how to build retirement wealth, manage your assets, and create a comfortable income stream based on Nobel Prize-winning research, not wishful thinking or gimmicks. Reserve your seats now and save $5 at TalkingRealMoney.com. That's TalkingRealMoney.com.
Exercise your Second Amendment right. Celebrate
Look at all these people coming through Lowell now. God damn.
Plus Ammo and Arms downtown Tacoma. The Glock Factory rep will be
Seriously.
Glock sale of the year. Over 20 different Glock models to choose from, including the popular Glock 43, and every model will be sold at the lowest price allowed by Glock. And with every new Glock purchase, surplus.
Go, man. What are you waiting
Giving
for?
away
What are
a
you...
free set of Glock night sights to be installed by a certified Glock Factory armorer. We'll also have a drawing for a free Glock 19. All contestants must be qualified buyers of the current ATF regulations.
Cannot believe this.
Already have a Glock? Bring it in for free inspection.
I-5 is packed. 7:30 at night.
$20 will supply last. It's the biggest Glock sale of the year, and every Glock will be sold for as little as the
This is
factory
sad.
rate. Celebrate Glock Day this Saturday, July 8th, with the best Glock deals of the year. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. just off I-5 in downtown Tacoma at A Street and throughout. Online at surplusammoandarms.com. Telling it like it is 24/7. This is Talk Radio 570.
Wow. God damn it. It's a vision of things to come. That's what this is, a vision of things to come.
go anywhere. I get back in, call the consulate, says, hey, there's an incident, I need you to get
insurance market and the current human health insurance market under Obamacare to sort of get a comparison between the difference between free market and government-run healthcare. And I think one might find that that your dog has better health insurance options than you do.
Right.
And I'm
Right.
very serious about this, and in many respects it's true. Your dog can get an MRI faster. I know, I've had that done for my dog.
Well, isn't that good?
Your dog can get surgery faster in many cases.
Yeah.
It's not by the
Yeah.
government.
And it's all because, you know, the free market works with dogs, doesn't it?
You know, market.
How much your dog pay for that?
You can lock in
Fucking clown.
if you insure your dog young, you can lock in that rate for the rest of its life, and so you're still paying.
Your dog is going to live maybe 15 years?
Maybe we should say if it's good enough.
Can you believe you're coming up with this shit?
I believe so.
Very good point, Michael, actually. Yeah.
Someone should do a serious study on this, and I've seen, even without government regulations saying that we need to cover pre-existing conditions, blah, blah, blah. On most of the pet insurance policies that I see, just through market demand, they say, you know, congenital covered, hereditary conditions covered, you know, these would be considered pre-existing.
Well, you know what the progressives will do? They'll destroy veterinary care.
Well, I guess...
They'll say, how the hell did we overlook that?
Well, I guess they don't see the value in
Yeah,
having
tour
power
bus, I wonder who that is.
But I guess if they feel
NTR
that
Western.
animal, they can have power over people, then they might do that too, yes.
All right, my friend. Thanks for your call. Jason, Portland, Maine. Sirius Satellite. How are you?
Mr. Levin, how you doing?
All right, buddy.
I'm calling because I am desperately in need of advice at this point. I live in a very liberal area in the country. I've been a conservative my entire life, and we've gotten to the point where nobody can talk to anybody anymore. I try and make coherent arguments to my liberal friends and family members, and I literally end up just getting silenced, shut down, and there's no common sense left with people anymore at this point.
Well, there are a lot of people outside your circle and some of these other circles who really don't have firm positions. I know this sounds odd, but it's true. If people are dug in so firmly, one of the things I've found is you do recommend that they read something, and you can say, I want you to read this book, and then I want to talk to you in a week about the book. So in other words, you don't have to be aggressive, you don't have to be in their face. You can be a little bit more cerebral. I'm not talking about you, the generic you. You can be a little bit more cerebral and say, hey, I'll tell you what. And whatever the book is, doesn't have to be one of mine. I want you to read X, Y, Z book, and then how about we talk about it in a week or two? Try that.
I've actually tried that example with things such as the Fair Tax book, a few others, news
Well, maybe
articles.
rather than getting into specific activism, get into specific thinking processes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Matter of fact, Mr. Producer, do we have Liberty and Tyranny? I'm going to send you a copy of Liberty and Tyranny. Jason, I really want you to try this. Pick one of your family members who's a lib. Say, look, I want you to read this book, then I want to talk about it with you in a week or two. And if they reject it, then forget it. You're never going to be able to persuade anybody who has a closed mind. But if somebody's at least willing to open the door an inch or two, then go in.
Because Obama was the tyrant.
So don't hang up. Let me.
We get it.
Well, if you what?
No, I was going to say I appreciate it, Mr. Levin. Thank you.
Well, don't hang up. Give it a shot, okay? And then I want to hear from you, all right? Don't hang up. Let's continue. Blake, Manchester, Tennessee, on the Mark Levin app. How are you?
How are you, Mark? I enjoy your show. I think you're a great patriot, and thank you so much for taking this call.
Thank you, Blake.
Great patriot.
I just want to go on, as far as the healthcare portion, people don't seem to realize what social medicine is really all about. I mean, from personal experience, I work in the automotive industry, and several years ago, we had to expedite some parts from Canada. And the person that drove them down was a lady who actually owned the expedite service. And she I asked her, why, if you own the expedite service, why are you driving down? Well, I love Nashville. Well, why is that? Because Nashville saved my life. She was diagnosed with liver cancer, and the Canadian healthcare system gave her 6 months to live. She called a friend who lived in Nashville, crying about it, and said, no, we'll bring you down to Nashville, and we'll take you to Vanderbilt. And Vanderbilt performed an experimental surgery because the liver actually grows, pretty regularly. And that was 2 years later. So if people want to have socialized medicine, they need to understand what socialized medicine stands for.
And socialized medicine stands for rationing. It stands for long lines.
Mm-hmm.
It is inhumane.
Mm-hmm.
It is the opposite of compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
And when the bureaucracy really gets caught with budget
like
shortages,
education,
they take
you've
the sickest
refused
people,
to fully fund
the
it.
oldest people, and they remove them from the health lists.
You make it worth the while.
have
There
basically
could be more
little bureau
hospitals,
that
there could be
sits
more
around and
clinics,
decides
and
who
more
lives and who
doctors
dies.
available.
And Sarah Palin was
But
attacked.
you don't want to
Sarah
play
Palin
that
was
game.
Exactly right. Just like this little baby in England now, where
Sarah Palin had her life saved in Canada when she was a child.
Here and others started, and the president brought and said, we'll take the baby. And the Vatican said, we'll take the baby.
Mm-hmm.
That hospital now says, oh, well, we're reconsidering this because maybe there is an angle to this. We can't possibly do this in every case where a human being is threatened. And so you're exactly right. The fact that you centralize decision-making, the fact that you centralize resources doesn't make things more efficient. It makes it less efficient and less humane. And I would ask people who support centralized government-run health care, whether it's Bernie Sanders or Mitch McConnell, I would ask them this question. Why is it that when it comes to every other aspect of our lives, we have an antitrust division in the United States Department of Justice, it's been there for 100 years or so, that has as its purpose to prevent concentrations, economic and business concentrations. And yet when it comes to government, it's all about concentration. Why is it that concentration of economic and financial activities in the private sector are bad, but when it's centralized in government, it's good? Can somebody please explain that to me?
Why do you make it sound like that? 'Cause that's not what it is.
What I don't understand is that you have so many people in
The post office. Damn, that works so horribly, doesn't it? Because they only make it to your house once a day.
Are we
the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm not advocating for a single-payer system, which I think...
Well, it would be odd if you were.
Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, they sure fucked up, aren't they?
An example of how
Let's talk about some more shit that's government-run that you don't like.
Well, true. But at the same time, though,
fucking
it's like
clown.
anything else, there needs to be rationalization.
No, there doesn't. What do you mean rationalization?
Some of the highest paid CEOs...
Let me ask you something. Who is this person in the government who's going to rationalize this? Who is it?
I don't know.
No, don't tell me you don't know if that's what you're proposing. Tell me, what group of people in the government are going to rationalize this?
Well, you don't need to attack me, Mark. I'm
not attacking you. I'm debating you because you're becoming nonsensical.
Because
who in the government is going to rationalize it?
Well, I don't know. There may be a board.
Exactly. Thanks for your call. This guy makes no sense to me, ladies. I'm sorry. He gives us an example of a friend or somebody who's delivering parts to an automobile dealership who escaped Canada and has survived because of the decisions that are made in Nashville, at Vanderbilt, that are not decisions made by the government. And then he does am I missing something, Rick? Then he does a 180. I don't get it, that we need to have this rationalized. How does a government rationalize things?
Hello, how are you doing today?
Just fine. How about yourself? Thank you.
Human beings in their own lives.
Just fine.
All right, thanks for asking. What can I get started for you?
Yeah, let me get a 7-layer burrito and a chicken burrito and a small Dr. Pepper.
Do we sit around and say we need somebody in Washington to rationalize?
And would you like anything else today?
That'll take care of it, thanks.
And it's all correct on the screen?
Looks good, yeah.
798 your total, please pull forward.
And it's frustrating, and yes, I'm impatient with this kind of thinking. Very impatient with it. It doesn't work anywhere. It doesn't work in so-called free societies like Canada, and it doesn't work in totalitarian societies like North Korea. What works? Liberty works. Choice works. Capitalism works.
Choice works, did you just say?
All these things in hospitals that you see were given birth by capitalism. It's just very
Capitalists run by your churches.
In a society
Right?
that is the greatest mankind has ever seen.
So that way, see, if you run it with the church, you don't have to pay taxes in a certain situation. See, we know how it works. Capitalism.
That
Fucking
we're capable
farce.
of rationalizing these things ourselves? There's an argument they've made now. Cruz has made a proposal. I haven't talked to him about it, but it's just rational. Mike Lee support, I support. Which is, look, we're not going to repeal this damn thing, then at least allow people who want to have different health care policies the right to have different health care policies. You'll keep an Obama policy if you want, fine, but let the rest of us get out. And the argument is it'll hurt people with pre-existing conditions. How does that hurt anyone with a pre-existing condition if they can still pick Obamacare?
But you're getting rid of Obamacare, Mr.
And then they
Levin.
make another excuse. Well, what about Medicaid? Well, what about Medicaid? Who the hell's hurting Medicaid?
You're trying to privatize it, you
There
dumb
are
shit.
hundreds of millions of them out of 320 million who simply want to do what we do in every other aspect of our lives.
What's that?
Be free to choose a
Choice.
healthcare plan
Choice?
that fits our needs.
Why you guys are for
And
choice all of a sudden? Where do you want to stop the choice?
We cannot, because it needs to be rationalized. And what?
Where do you want to stop the choice at? Because I want to make sure you said that.
Rationing and waiting line.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.